Most people that are starting to create content quit before they even find their voice. And I almost did that myself. But it's kind of important, in my opinion, to try to find your voice and then give an actual try once you have your voice. And your voice can have a lot of different shapes, a lot of different aspects to creativity. You could be a musician, you could be a painter, you could be whatever type of art that you choose to express yourself through requires a lot of time and repetition. But this is probably something that you already know. I'm not here to tell you that. I'm here to tell you the story of how I almost quit and what the takeaways were for me. So if you find yourself in a similar situation, I really hope this helps. If you're new here, my name is Angel Barclay, and I'm a cinematic storyteller, content creator, full-time. And I'm trying to do these videos just to be totally transparent to improve how I talk to the camera. Because I think that that's one skill that I was getting too comfortable with, because I was just making scripts and, during editing, I was just polishing them, because most of the work that you see on social media, it's 10% a good idea and 90% the editing or the post-production. And it's very hard for me personally to talk to the camera directly, because I'm not even from the US. I have an accent. I'm from the Dominican Republic originally. And I get very self-conscious when it comes to speaking to the camera, because I want to communicate my message the way I think about it, but it's very hard to do that in real time. I've only been here in the US for 5 years, about to be 6 years. And everything that I've learned is through my own, my own merit, in a sense. I've been trying to learn more English. And it's something that I do overthink a lot, but even though it doesn't seem like it when I'm making content. But the reason, I just got a drop of water. I just took a shower, by the way, so that's probably why my hair is wet. But just parenthesis in here, I'm trying to keep these videos very open, very neutral. I want to make this a safe space for me just to improve. If it doesn't get any views, it's okay. But I'm trying to put some type of value in here, because I'm doing this with the purpose of improving, like I said before. But I do also want to help someone. I'm not making just for the sake of my selfish purpose, if that makes sense. I'm making my other cinematic videos, and they're also going to be taking place here on this same YouTube channel. But this is just like my safe space. So without further ado, let's talk about what are some of the things that I think creators don't really talk about when it comes to jumping into the industry. Even before finding who you are, what's your style, what's your niche. I hate niching down, but let's dive into that. And this will be where I put a pause or whatever. So I'm trying to structure my videos how I would do them before, but no pause. Let's keep going. It's nerve-wracking to talk like this. Oh my God. But it's improving. It's improvement. It's an improvement. So don't be harsh. If you're just watching, it's kind of awkward. Okay, I'm getting nervous, but that's okay. That's okay. That's part of the process. That's literally part of the process. And ADHD kicking in. But yeah. So some of the things that I feel that you need to improve as a content creator, and it's something that I need to improve myself, is how you connect with your audience. Because you need to start talking like you're talking to a friend. And again, this is all over the internet. This is something you probably already saw. This is something you probably already heard. But how does that actually look like? Well, it's going to be different in any case, because everyone that has that content creation journey has a different path to walk on. In my case, this is an example of what I'm trying to do. But I feel that we all gotta ask ourselves at some point in your creative journey. If you're starting, it's maybe too early to ask yourself this type of questions, but it's just like, who are you really as a person? And it sounds deep as fuck. It doesn't have to be, but it's just like, you need to be transparent in order to connect with people. There's real people behind another screen, or the screen that you're promoting your content. And the more content that I create, just for context, this YouTube channel was created in 2012. And even though I haven't been as consistent, I have been posting. And I haven't had any virality moments. I've been blessed to work with bigger brands like Meta, Toyota, And a lot of brands like that, but I haven't had that creative virality moment that puts me like as a recognized creator, let's say it that way. That's how I see it myself, because obviously imposter syndrome is a thing when you're creating, because the comparison trap is something that you can never escape. You could deal with it, you could accept it, you could embrace it, you could do all these things, but you will never be able to escape, because we all consume content. There is a lot of methods that I see a lot of other creators doing, which they log off their phone. They get this little thing called a brick. Look it up on Instagram. It's like blocks all your apps. Oh, pal. There's a lot of ways to cope with it. I don't know if that's... Cope is a word, right? Yes, coping is a word, but I don't know if that's the context. Whatever. But there's all these ways to do that, but you could never really escape it. So how do you actually improve as a creative if you are not able to escape the comparison trap? Well, that's by challenging yourself. You got to compare yourself to the version that you were before, and that could be done every day. But it doesn't really help, in my opinion, if you're comparing yourself to a version of you that you don't want to be anymore. That's one thing. Number two, if you're comparing yourself but you're not trying to do anything in the present moment to improve that previous version of you, then what's the fucking point? Like I don't want to stand here. I was going to say sit, but I'm obviously not sitting. I don't want to stand here and tell you that it's easy for me to talk this way. This is way out of my comfort zone, but I'm doing it because I'm trying to compare myself to the previous version of me that would have been afraid to sit down and have this type of conversation. I also want to be able to be vulnerable and open online, because I don't do that much. And that's one thing that if I've always been afraid, and maybe you're in this scenario too, I've always been afraid of sharing my thoughts and my opinions online on specific things. If it's camera equipment, that has nothing to do with my life. I have an opinion. I like Sony better than Canon. That's just me. I never care about all these things. But whenever you add some touches of your personal life, which, oh, there's a hair here. That's my cat. Whenever you add some personal life things to your content, you give people the option to have an opinion on your beliefs, and that's scary. That's nerve-wracking, and that's something you're going to deal with when you're creating content. And I think that idea gets in the back of our heads, and that's probably holding all of us back from creating the content that we want to create. We know the things that we want to do, but I recently found out the things that I don't want to do, And I think that when you find out things like jobs, like things that you don't want to do, you are going to be forced to do more things that you want to do in order for you to improve. And that's like a highly motivator on how I was able to like skip that position. I don't know if this is making a lot of sense for you, but I know that people in the similar situations, similar scenarios, like debating between leaving their job and going full into content creation, are probably gonna resonate with this. And it's just like, you gotta be able to know exactly what you don't want to do. If you have no fucking idea what you want to do one thing, at least one thing you don't want to do. And I assure you that you will put more time and effort into finding what is that you want to do, because you're being miserable doing some other thing, right? And I think that that's one of the things that creators don't talk about a lot, is just like the struggles of finding yourself. The internet is fucking flooded, and excuse my language, I'm feeling like this is how I talk normally. I try not to do it online because I don't know, I want to be like a responsible person. And if my kids, when I have kids, see those videos, I don't want them saying like speaking like that. But that's a parenthesis. I'm not cutting these videos. I'm not editing these videos. I'm sweating right now and I'm nervous. But if you're willing to put yourself, and I feel I'm repeating myself, but this is just what's important to me. That's you got to figure out something that is really, really important for you. And yeah, one of the takeaways of that though, it's that if you do that work, if you at least try to do that type of work, try to improve yourself, try to become a better creator. There's a lot of different things that you see online. If it's a trend, if it's an effect, if it's a color grading, in my niche, those are the things that I'm always paying attention to those things. And if there's something that you cannot do, in my opinion, it's hard, but it's easier. Bear with me. It's hard to try to learn a new skill as you get older, because you get comfortable, and if you're making good videos already, which a lot of people are, why is there a need to improve if you're doing something that works? But that's not how we should work. As creators, we need to find a lot of iterations of our work and evolve. And that could be finding a different niche, finding a different activity. Because when you're living, when you're like in this race of life with yourself primarily, you know, even though we compare ourselves to other people and all that shit, that's another point. But when you are in that race of life, you are living by stages. That's how I see it. That's just my opinion, and that's my experience. Feel free to let me know in the comments what's your experience on that. But when you're living, you have stages. When I started this YouTube channel 13 years ago, I probably only had to be worrying about going to college, getting average grades, because I never was an A student. I was a C, B student, you know. I just get the job done, right? But that was one of my only worries. And then the other one was just work out and create videos. Now I'm about to marry the woman that I love. We have an apartment that we need to take care of. And by default, I have less time to pursue the things that I want to do, but more time that fulfill me as a human being. And all these things take a toll on you and have a place in your heart. So you got to decide what's important. You're getting older, you tell yourself that every day you're going to do something different, and you know deep down ways to do something different. Now, I don't know if this is sweat or water. That's crazy. I just got out of the shower. But like, you got to be able to have a conversation with yourself and find those things. And the reason I say that creators don't talk about that is because everyone wants to chase vanity metrics. Everyone wants to know how to get more followers. But I don't see a lot of people asking themselves how to become a better human. And by default, being a better human, more vulnerable, putting yourself in other people's shoes, you can actually improve the way you create content. And I think I'm going to leave it there because that's today's story. And I'll probably see you tomorrow with another story. And yeah, I'm still nervous. This is day 2. I'm posting another video, Rocky Mountains blog trip that I did. Like I said, it's going to be hard for me to keep the pace of posting a daily thought on something that I'm thinking about that hopefully will add value to someone while keeping my YouTube and Instagram relevant, because this is my full-time job. And if I don't keep myself relevant, then I don't get paid. And if I don't get paid, I don't get to do the things that I want to do. So yeah, if you're there, if you're somewhere in that spot, I wish you luck, but you got to do your work. And Godspeed. Peace.